So we're going to give an example of a story now, how we had to change some of our understanding based on the culture and the community.
For me, the example is in Senegal. I was trying to start a storying group with some men, and I found there was a guard at our house, and he always had a group of men with him in the afternoon for tea and in the evening as well. And so they were Muslim, and we were trying to start a storying group, a Bible study regularly. And so I asked them if they would be interested in possibly following some stories of Jesus and the Bible. And they were very interested, they said. And so I said, well, what would be a good time? And I was thinking, well, maybe 5 o'clock after I get off, or maybe in the middle of the afternoon when they all go home. And he said, well, I'll talk to the group and then we'll decide. And so he came back to me the next day and said, how about 10 o'clock at night? And so that was not quite what I expected. So many times you have to do on their time, no matter what it is. And it was a wonderful experience. We set out on mats under the sky, and each week on Tuesday nights had tea and told Bible stories and just talked and discussed.
For me, it probably has to do a lot with refugees. For me, it probably has a lot to do with refugees in the city of Houston. We've worked with refugees for decades now. In Europe, though, refugees have a lot of social services available to them on a long-term basis. But here in the United States, those services last only a few months, at which point they need to quickly become adjusted, learn the language, get their children in school, get a job. Most of the time, this leads to some sort of minimum wage job that enters them into a cycle of poverty that's very difficult to overcome. And so for me, coming to the United States and Houston in particular, it became evident to me that refugees needed something well past that time. The situation that they were in led to unhappiness, depression, disgruntledness, an inability to thrive, and an inability to help their families really become fully adjusted. And so that's when we began developing programs that said, okay, what happens after government aid is finished? What happens after most agencies have finished their work with refugees? What happens after that initial settlement period? And to begin to understand those needs that might go on for 10 and sometimes even 20 years. So to adjust my understanding of their needs to their understanding of their needs.